Hey guys, my name is Deb Marnie and I'm from Aussie Maille, and this is our chainmail tutorial channel. Hey guys, big hi, hello, welcome, how are you? Thanks for popping in today and spending some time with me. It is great to see you again. So today I've got a weave tutorial for you, and the weave we will be doing today is called the Alfred weave. All right guys, let's jump straight into it. Okay guys, so I've got some sample pieces of the Alfred weave made up for you. I'll run through these with you in a second, but they'll also be coming up here on the side of the video, and you'll also be able to find that information down below the video in the description section, along with links to other information, the creator of the weave, links to our website. All of that stuff will be down there as well. But to run through these quickly with you now. Okay, so this version over here is our 14 gauge AWG version, so that's 1.6 millimeter diameter wire, and the bright aluminium rings, these ones are 7.5 millimeter ID, and the anodized rings, those are 7/32 of an inch or 5.56 millimeters. The next version is the 16 gauge version. This one, so that's 1.2 millimeter diameter wire. This one, the center rings, these large center rings here in the bright aluminium and the royal blue, those are 7/32 of an inch, 5.56 millimeters, and the ones running down the side, those are 5/32 of an inch or 3.97 millimeters. The next gauge, 18 gauge, I've actually got two versions for this one. So this one here in the bright aluminium, these are probably the more ideal size as per what the creator suggested. So the larger rings that you can see running down the section here, those ones are 18 gauge AWG, so that's 1 millimeter diameter wire. Ring ID is 4.5 millimeters. And then the little ones running down the side, those ones are 3.25 millimeters. Now I wanted to try and get a version that included anodized rings, because although I do like the bright aluminium, I know a lot of people like color in their work, so I wanted to try and find rings that worked. So these are my suggestion. It's a much looser weave, but these particular sizes, it still holds its shape enough. So the center down here, those ones, they're still 18 gauge AWG, 1 millimeter diameter wire, but the ring ID this time was 3/16 of an inch or 4.76 millimeters. Okay, so instead of 4.5, I used about a 4.75. I still kept the 3.25 running down the side. I did try slightly bigger, but it made the weave way too unstable. So 18 gauge, 3/16 down the middle, and the 3.25 down the side. And then our final piece here, this is our 20 gauge AWG version. So that's 0.8 millimeter diameter wire. The ring ID I chose for these ones, the larger rings are 5/32 of an inch or 3.97 millimeters, and the smaller rings are 7/64 of an inch or 2.78 millimeters. So this one again is slightly larger aspect ratio than is suggested by the creator, so it makes an extremely flexible weave. So you can see this one, which is more along the lines of what they would suggest. It's got a little bit of tension in there. This one has none whatsoever, but those ring sizes work very well if you want to incorporate color in this weave, and I think this is one of those weaves where it benefits greatly from color. Okay, so the Alfred weave actually starts with another weave called Abstain. Okay, and this is a small version of the Abstain weave. So I'll show you how to weave up the abstain weave, and then we will convert it to the Alfred. So this video is basically 2 weaves for the price of 1. All right, so I'm going to do up a version like this one where we've got here, where we've got just the minimal amount of anodized rings in our weave. And to do that, my center chain needs to be made out of the anodized aluminium. If you want to do it the other way, where the bright aluminium is minimal and the anodized aluminium, there's more of it, you start your center chain with the bright aluminium. Okay, so you can see here, my center chain starts with the anodized, and this one here, my center chain started with the bright aluminium. So that's just to help you design your colorway. If you want minimal anodized rings down the middle, or whichever one you want minimal, that's the one that you start your center chain with. Okay, so the first step of this weave is exceptionally easy. You just want a simple 1-1-1 chain. Now you will need to make this significantly longer than the piece that you're planning on making. I found for a bracelet that was about 20 centimeters in finished length, I actually needed to make this center chain more like 35 centimeters. Okay, so you'll need to add about 1 3/4 of what your finished length will be. So if you guys pop me on hold and go ahead and make up your center chain, and then meet me back here and I will show you the next step. Okay, so I've got a short sample piece here of a 1-1 weave for my center chain. And next I'm going to take up my bright aluminium rings in the same size. So this is still, in this case, the larger ring size, which is 7/32 of an inch or 5.56 millimeters. So what I want to do with this one here is we want to position our first and our second rings like you see here. Okay, so we want our second ring to sort of be flipped upwards or facing to the right. Okay, and when we've got it in that position, we just take our open ring and go through both of those rings. Okay, close it up and then take up a second bright aluminium ring and feed it through the same path. Okay, okay, so we've got our center chain of our anodized rings and we've got 2 of our BA rings placed. Okay, so what we want to do next, again, making sure that our next loose ring folds upwards. Okay, hold that in place, grab a new ring, and we want to go through our new ring, bring it up underneath, picking up the previous center ring as well as the topmost bright aluminium ring that we just added. Okay, so I'll show you that again, making sure our rings are sitting. I'll move that one out of the way. Making sure these 3 rings are sitting like this so that our loose ring folds up and our bright aluminium ring there is also laying in the same direction. We go through our loose ring, up through the previous ring, and at the same time up through the bright aluminium ring. And we close that ring up. And your work should look like this. We now want to flip our work over so that the remaining first ring here that we placed, our remaining first bright aluminium ring, is again at the top of our weave. We again want to make sure that our coloured ring is flipped to the right or to the top, which it should automatically do since it's already locked in place. And we want our second bright aluminium ring of the previous unit to be also facing that way. And again, we go in, we pick up the second colour ring, we pick up the previous coloured ring, and we pick up just our remaining bright aluminium ring. Okay, so this is a bit fiddly. It's not that the rings are tight or anything, it's just a little fiddly. Okay. And you should have something that now looks like this. So again, we want to make sure that our loose ring, our next loose ring in our center chain, is flipped this way so it sits on the top, not this way so it's down the bottom. We want it to sit at the top of our weave as we're holding it like this. And we want that top bright aluminium ring also sitting in that direction. Picking up another open ring, we go down through our loose ring, up through our previous center ring, and up through the bright aluminium ring that sits within it. Okay. Close it up. Flip our work over to the other side. Again, making sure that all our rings are in that same position, that they're all laying towards the top. Taking up another open ring. Going down through the front of what was our new ring, up through the back of the previous center ring, and up through the back of the bright aluminium ring, the remaining bright aluminium ring. Close it up. And that's it. That is all it takes to weave up the abstain weave. I'll do it a couple more times for you because, as I said, it is a little fiddly. Okay, so holding on to your work, we want to make sure that our next ring in our chain, our next loose ring, okay, is sitting so that it flips to the top of our work. And we also want to make sure that we're picking up our top bright aluminium ring that will also be sitting in the same position. Okay, so you can see that. And basically our working ring will come down through this, down through the loose ring and up through these two rings. Okay, so taking up an opened ring, making sure I've got everything in position. I come down through my new ring, up through the previous center ring, and up through the top bright aluminium ring. Close it up. Flip our work over to the other side so that the remaining bright aluminium ring is now on the top of our work. And we want to do the same there. Going through the new ring, down through the front of the new ring, turning our working ring around and coming up through the back of the previous center ring and through the remaining bright aluminium ring. Close it up. Okay, going down to our chain, making sure our new loose ring here is in the position that we want it in. So not this way, guys, that's not what we want. We want it this way so that it's sitting towards the top of our weave, and our top bright aluminium ring, you can see, is also in the same position. Okay, going down through the front of the loose ring, up through the back of the previous center ring, and up through the back of the top bright aluminium ring. Close it up. Flip the work over. taking up a new open ring, going down through the front of our loose ring, our centered loose ring, up through the back of the previous center ring, up through the remaining bright aluminium ring. Okay guys, so just continue doing that all the way down the length of your chain. Pop me on pause, and when you're ready, meet me back here and I will show you how we turn the abstain weave into Alfred weave. Okay guys, so this next step is a little tricky. It's a little difficult. Once you get it started, it's okay, but this first step is a little difficult. So what we want to do is we want to look at our abstain weave. We want to hold it like this. So we've sort of got our first ring showing its edge to us. And then what we're looking for is these 3 bright aluminium rings up the top here that you can see twisting down the weave. Okay, what we want to do is fold these so that our 3rd ring here sits on top of our 1st ring. So what that looks like is sort of like this maneuver here. Okay, I hope you can see that. As I said, this is a little tricky. So as I said, hold it so that your 1st ring is showing you the edge of the ring, not its face. We're looking for these 3 bright aluminium rings here on the top, and we want to fold this ring so it sits up on the top of this 1st ring. So our 3rd ring sits on top of our 1st ring. Okay, so just do that and it should look something like this. And then we want to lock those 2 rings in place, and we do this with our smaller rings. And we simply go down through the front of this ring here that's on top, up through the back of the ring that's sitting underneath. So down through the front, up through the back. And we double that ring up. Down through the front, up through the back. Okay, and your work should look like this. Now I find it helps to go down the weave for just a couple of sections to start with. So again, the next 3 rings, silver rings we're looking for here is this one. This is our first one, which is the last ring in our previous set. This is our second, and this is our third. Okay, so they're the 3 rings that we're looking at, and we're looking at bringing this 3rd ring to sit on top of our first ring. Okay, so you just fold that up so it sits up there. Holding it in place, grab one of your small rings. We go down through the ring that's on the top and up through the ring that's on the bottom. Close it up and then double that ring up. Okay, so we've got a couple of sections locked along that working edge there at the moment. So your work should look something like this. And then what I like to do is just flip our work over, and we want to start locking this side down. So over here for our first one, we're going to, if you hold your work, you can see we've got these 2 rings here sitting on top of each other. Those are the 2 rings that we want to lock in place. So we've got 2 locking rings on our first side. We're just going to do 1 set of locking rings on this side. Okay, so again, it's these 2 rings here that when your work is folded, you can see they're sitting up. a little bit than the others. Okay, we want to lock those first two in place. So taking up a small opened ring, we go down through the second of those rings, bring it around and come up through the first of those rings. So there's our first locking ring in place, and we just want to double that ring up. Okay, and you can see our Alfred weave starting to take place. So then we want to go to our next set of 3 rings. So this one here that we used previously, that will be our first. This one here is our second. This one here is our third. We fold that third set of rings so it sits up on our first set, and we lock it in place. Double that ring up. Okay, and your work should look like this. And we just keep repeating those steps down the length of the weave. Okay, so I'll just do this a couple more times because it is a little tricky. Okay, so again, we're looking for our 3 silver rings, starting here with the last ring of our previous set. So this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So you can see they're spiraling down, 1, 2, 3. We want to fold this so that 3, this ring here, sits up on top of ring number 1. Okay, and we hold that in place, and we take up one of our small rings. We go down through the front of the 3rd ring, up through the back of the 1st ring. Close that up and double it up. Now you can choose to work all the way down one side. I tend to do quite a lot of one side and then flip it over and do the other side. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to flip this over to the other side. And you can see here that these rings are already almost in position because of the rings on the other side. So you pretty much just have to bring these 2 top rings here, the one that was in the previous unit, and this one here. Just bring those together and lock them into place. Okay, and repeat with the 2nd ring. Okay, and then again, we want to start looking for that 3rd ring in our sequence. So here's ring number 1, which is the final ring of the previous lot that we locked in, the previous number 3 ring. So this now becomes number 1. This here is number 2. This here is number 3. We want to fold number 3 up, and it's not a big fold. It's just a little bit of a squitch. Fold it up so it sits on top of the 1st one. And then we take up a locking ring and pop that in place. And then come in with a 2nd. And you just keep doing that, guys, all the way down the length of your piece. And then you'll be finished. You will have a fabulous piece of the Alfred weave. But that's it, guys. That's all you need to do. All right, my lovelies. Well, that is it. That is the video tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed it and it was of use to you. If you did find the tutorial useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up here on YouTube. Share the video if you like. That would be amazing. Leave comments or questions down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you're not a subscriber, maybe you might consider doing that for us right now. And big thanks and hugs to those that have been subscribers. We do appreciate it. It does help our channel and it's fabulous if you can do that for us. And also, guys, last but not least, don't forget to give this shop link up here in the corner a little bit of love and affection. That's where we sell the bits and bobs and whatchamajigs you're going to need to whip up this weave and the many others that we show. But once again, guys, thanks for popping in and seeing me. It was great to see you. Keep safe, keep well. And you and I will spend some time together again in the very near future. Okay, guys. Bye. Bye.